Music resonates from the inside out, and so it intrinsically connects people together. It empathizes, it creates empathy for us to be able to see one another, to hear my voice in you, to see my physical form within your plight.
So when we decided that we were going to go in the direction of this digital composition, we were looking at what are the themes that we've been wrestling with over the course of this pandemic, and what are the themes that artists have been wrestling with over the pandemic. We landed on fear, identity, and isolation.
We also have interstitial music, which is around the theme of breath, and we felt like that really united all of the themes. That, you know, there is this moment of people considering breath, being fearful of breath because of the pandemic and COVID, considering breath in terms of I can't breathe and George Floyd and all of the protests and uprising that's happened since then. And also that sitting in a dark theater, which was what we loved doing together as an audience, there is a collective sense of breath.
So in thinking about what we wanted the compositional voice of modulation to be, it was really clear that we didn't want a single voice. We wanted a huge range of voices. We wanted a range of aesthetics. We wanted a range of musical styles. We wanted to really embrace the broadness of what our festival is about, which is interrogating this line between opera and music theater and having those things be in conversation with each other.
We have the opportunity to introduce our audience to a number of composers that we've never had the opportunity to work with before. And in doing so, that have sort of sparked great creation partnerships with us.
My process for this project hasn't really changed that much. I work with musicians and provide sketches as source material for work that is then woven into electroacoustic composition.
More in that direction? Or?
Yeah,
okay.
I like that. All right, so it's similar that you're kind of changing these kind of emotions in an unspecified pitch from, so kind of bel canto operatic to more of a soulful grief. By soulful I mean black, but grief. And the first two can be on an open vowel, but the last one just on a kind of in from in here.
The lives of young girls revolve around working from the time they're 5 or 6 years old. They're selling trinkets on the beach to make money for their families who live in extreme poverty. And the girls typically don't go to school because they're needed to work, and very often they're married away at the age of 11 or 12. And this club, the thing that's fascinating about it is through a turn of events, a number of these young girls learned how to surf. And as they did, that became a pathway due in no small part to the couple who started this club. This became a pathway for them to also get an education and learn a number of skills that would open doors for them after.
While creating this work, I think I learned that it's important sometimes to go beyond the notated page, if you will. When I was starting with it, I thought I really wanted it to be super rhythmically in time and really kind of intense and tight, kind of like sometimes I think fear feels to me, and I wanted everything super exact on the notated page before I recorded it. But thanks to working on this piece and with the text and realizing, of course, that I was the only one really performing and recording of it, I tried to give myself free will to go beyond the notated page.
The inspiration behind this piece was really the people that I was working with. Mariela, the illustrator, and Lido, the singer, and our conversations about our experiences, the things we had in common, the things that were different, and I think mostly the dark humor through which we see it all.
I believe that artists, aside from creating art and creating beauty, are responsible for the spiritual healing of the world. And at this time that the world is going through very difficult times, it's more important than before to create works that reflect the mutual pain that we are all going through. I have to admit that the largest inspiration behind this piece is Minahi herself, who's an incredible songwriter and vocalist in Iran, where women are not allowed to sing as solo singers, and the fact that she's trying to thrive and she's trying to grow in the context of the life she has, it's the most inspiring point about this piece, and that connects us all, in fact.
To be able to create during this type of time has been extraordinarily meaningful. It's given me a purpose, and it's given me a sense that 2020 has not just been something that has happened to us, but something that we are in dialogue with. We are isolated at this time, that actually the paradox of it all is that the isolation is something that we create ourselves out of this toxic individuality. But actually that all of these crises of racial justice, of climate justice, are completely intertwined and completely affect one another.
So I think the thing that's been really exciting is that we came up with 3 different themes, but within each theme there's overlap, that the composers are working. A composer that might be addressing fear is also often addressing identity, or a composer that's addressing identity is often addressing issues of isolation. So I think that the themes that we're working with were provocative and evocative enough that they could really open up a big dialogue across all 13 composers, despite which category they were sort of slotted into.